The crew at the International Space Station will return home early because of what NASA is calling a medical concern with a crew member. This comes after NASA scrapped a planned spacewalk earlier today. NASA says the crew member's condition is stable, and while the evacuation isn't due to an emergency, they want to err on the side of caution. They gave an update on the situation just a few hours ago, saying they don't expect the evacuation to greatly alter NASA activities.
Certainly the crew surgeons are monitoring the crew member, and they will amend or alter anything that they see fit on the crew member if they need to. But the crew member, again, is absolutely stable. And so, I don't foresee massive changes to the timeline or their activities.
Let's bring in CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood. So, Bill, is this the first time NASA has done a controlled medical evacuation? What does the process look like to now get them home?
It is the first time in NASA space history that a mission has been cut short by a medical issue. The Russians brought a cosmonaut down in the 1970s because of a problem he encountered in orbit, but it's never happened to NASA, and it's certainly never happened in the history of the 25 years the International Space Station has been permanently staffed. So to come home, it'd be just like what they would do for a normal return to Earth. They would get into their Crew Dragon capsule, put their suits on, strap in, undock from the space station, then re-enter and splash down in the Pacific off the coast of Southern California. Obviously, in this case, we don't know exactly what the issue is with the astronaut. NASA doesn't discuss that because of medical privacy reasons. So we don't really know how it's going to affect that person getting into a spacesuit, encountering the G-forces of reentry, bobbing on the water and getting out of the ship once they land. But NASA doesn't seem overly concerned about that.
Yeah, well, we do hope for everyone to get home safely. And you mentioned you don't know what the medical condition is, and obviously it probably cannot be stated anyway. But has there ever been something like the common cold or the flu or anything like that when they're up there? Or is it's in such a sterile environment that that's out of the question for something like that to happen?
Well, there have been problems in orbit before. People have gotten sick. They've not necessarily sick from a virus or a bug or something, but they can have abrasions. They can have problems that they have to deal with. Nothing that rises though to the level of getting them home early. That's a really big deal to NASA to cut a mission short. It affects the experiments they're doing on the space station. Really throws a wrench into the whole operation. So it's not trivial. Even though this isn't an emergency, this is not a trivial event. There have been instances in the past where they've had to do some treatment in space. They never tell us what it is because of medical privacy, but nothing as serious as this one, clearly.
Absolutely. Understood for that reason, keeping it private. But what does this evacuation mean now for the mission and for NASA moving forward?
Yeah, it's interesting. When one of these ships has to leave, in this case a Crew Dragon, the 4 people who went up on it have to come home on it. So not just the person who's feeling bad, but his 3 crewmates or her 3 crewmates, everyone has to come home. So when that happens, there'll just be left 3 people on the station, 2 cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut who launched on a Russian Soyuz with those 2 cosmonauts. That's all done on purpose, just in case something like this happens. There will always be at least 1 American or 1 Russian on the station to operate their country's respective systems. That's a very big deal indeed. So between now and when a new crew gets to the station from the U.S., Chris Williams, the American astronaut who will be left behind, he's going to be responsible for the entire U.S. segment. That's a lot of work. It's a very complex system, but obviously the Russians don't know how to operate our systems, and so he's critical. So it's going to be a very busy time for him on board the space station until the new crew gets there. And I should say NASA's looking at moving up the launch of that new crew. Right now they're scheduled to launch in mid-February. They're going to see if they can move that up by several days. Just to shorten the time Williams is there by himself and get the fresh crew on board.
Yeah, good information, and here's to a safe landing and to good health. Bill Harwood. Bill, thank you so much.